have a hard time believing that a fireball traveled down the elevator over 1,100 feet.
World Trader 1 and 2 got hit by planes. 7, miraculously, the first time in history.
Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
On the morning of September 11, 2001, one of the most tragic moments in American history would take place, affecting thousands of individuals nationwide. Over 3,000 people were killed during the attacks in New York City and Washington, D.C., including more than 400 police officers and firefighters. 8:46 a.m. American Airlines Flight 11 strikes the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. 9:03 a.m. United Airlines Flight 175 strikes the South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. Recently after the attack, articles from all over the nation flooded the internet, many of which talked about the attackers who claimed to be a part of Al-Qaeda. People often question why the president sat down with the class 15 minutes after it was clear that the U.S. was under attack. Famous news anchor Bill O'Reilly, who strongly believes that 9/11 was a terrorist attack, appeared on the talk show The View in 2010 with this statement.
Muslims killed us on 9/11. Muslims didn't kill us on 9/11? Is that what you're saying?
There are over 18,000 comments on the video with different opinions agreeing and disagreeing with O'Reilly. Comments ranged from some stating that Bill O'Reilly was the most intelligent person in an argument, to others feeling personally attacked by his comments and getting offensive over the topic. Overall, O'Reilly was sharing his opinion, but in an extreme and wrong way, trying to target all Muslims to be the fault of 9/11.
You have stories that are selected primarily to upset liberals and Democrats and prop up the Republican Party.
In the personal story segment tonight, we were surprised to find out that an American who lost his father in the World Trade Center attack had signed an anti-war advertisement that accused the USA itself of terrorism.
You have a hostility towards guests that disagree with the host. And you have a host who, in service of his conservative politics, will distort facts, will misrepresent things, and will, in some cases, just fabricate.
O'Reilly exposed his opinion to the world by targeting a former guest's opinion.
They were so persistent about getting me on the O'Reilly show because they found out that I was on the advisory board and signed a statement that was against the war, and then I was directly impacted by 9/11.
Why would I want to brutalize and further punish the people in Afghanistan?
Who killed your father?
The people in Afghanistan didn't kill my father.
Sure they did. The Al-Qaeda people were trained there.
Aside from the large number of conspiracies, many others do believe that 9/11 was an act of terrorism planned and performed by the well-known terrorist group Al-Qaeda, with leader Osama bin Laden being the brains behind the entire attack.
George Bush had nothing to do with it.
The director, senior, as director.
He had nothing to do with it.
The people that train.
Bill O'Reilly stays with his belief, defending President Bush, but in a very unorderly manner. O'Reilly stands his ground and defends his perspective on 9/11, but reacting very negatively toward a guest on his show.
Hatred for this program and his country using vile propaganda.
The website 9/11 blogger calls Showbiz Tonight's coverage, quote, the first time a major news station has covered 9/11 questions in any reasonable format.
Well-known actor Charlie Sheen publicly questions the official 9/11 story, joining many others in believing 9/11 being a setup.
We're not the conspiracy theorists on this particular issue. It seems to me like, 19 amateurs with box cutters taking over 4 commercial airliners and hitting 75% of their targets. That feels like a conspiracy theory.
Charlie Sheen has no evidence, and it is a shame that celebs get their voice and opinions heard because of their status. Danny says God bless Charlie Sheen for standing up and speaking his mind on what is the most devastating event to hit our nation, 9/11.
I do believe that it is the first time in history that fire has ever melted steel. I do believe that it defies physics for the World Trade Center Tower 7, Building 7, which collapsed in on itself. It is impossible for a building to fall the way it fell without explosives being involved. World Trade Center 7. World Trader 1 and 2 got hit by planes. 7, miraculously, the first time in history, steel was melted by fire.
The media handled the outcome of 9/11 in a very unique way. The situation was poorly handled after many interviews were ended sooner than expected, only because the views between people were completely opposite of each other's. A view would not be listened to without an interruption or a judgment of some sort being added in. What happened on September 11th of 2001 was a heartbreaking event that cannot be unseen or undone. How people get their views is based on how the media presents the facts. And this particular event has two sides that clearly seem to be completely against one another.